If you clicked on this video, then you most likely are someone that often finds yourself drowned in other people's emotions, or you find yourself very attracted to negative energies, or when someone is unloading their problems on you, you also take that energy with you and you feel it, and you can't differentiate. You have a hard time differentiating your emotions from other people's emotions. So you feel all these emotions and you don't realize when they're not your own, and it can be really difficult to live your life day to day having all of these emotions or taking on these energies and not knowing how to cope or deal with it. So today we're going to talk about why you are like this. So to get to the root, it's always about getting to the root so you can understand further. So when you can understand, you can fix the problem. And we're going to talk about how to stop taking on other people's emotions and how to set healthy boundaries. So if you are someone that notices you take on other people's emotions, you most likely did this in childhood in order to survive chaos or abuse. So you felt in danger, and in order to deal with you feeling in danger or dealing with a chaotic environment, you read your caregiver's emotions and you would take them on as your own in order to deal with them. So you noticed when mom was upset, you would immediately notice, okay, she's upset, and you would take on her being upset and you would try to help her. And that is how you survive being in that household. So there's that. Or you took on people-pleasing tendencies where you would take on that emotion and immediately try to please your caregiver. So you may have had to feel when they were down, you also had to be down. If they were down and you were satisfied or okay in some sort of way, they may have yelled at you of like, I'm dealing with this, why are you so happy? So then you saw, okay, when they're angry, when mom's angry, I also have to be angry. When they're unhappy, I also have to be unhappy. You can't differentiate your emotion from their emotion. And then you will also in adulthood carry this into your relationships. So if you may go into a relationship with someone that's similar to your caregiver, where they also, like when they're down, you feel like you also have to be down. Or you could have a partner that's not like that at all, but because this has been ingrained in you so deeply, you're like, okay, when they're down, I have to immediately fix it and be down as well. And like, I can't do anything else. Like, I have to go into fix it mode and take care of them and make sure they're okay. I am responsible for uplifting them and making it all better. Or there also can be this fear of abandonment, because in childhood, you feared that abandonment. If your caregiver is angry, like, oh no, you know, they might abandon me, or I'm not gonna get my needs met. So you'll take this into your adult relationships where you're like, okay, I'm terrified if I'm not on my best behavior, I don't take care of them, or I don't make them happy, then they're gonna abandon me. You feel this need to save them. Or you will worry about getting some sort of backlash, whether this is a reality because you have an abusive partner, or this is a false story that you tell yourself because this is what was ingrained in your nervous system as a child, that's how relationships work. So there's that extreme. Or you grew up with very empathetic parents where they were people pleasers and they overly cared or took care of others, and then this was ingrained in you as well, and so you've become very attuned to other people's emotions and not enough about your own emotions. It's very much so about other people. And so all of this results in you being unaware of your emotions versus other people's emotions. So when someone tells you something, so let's say they get very angry about a fight they got in with someone else, you also may notice you get very heated and angry, and that's very normal as a human in the human experience. But other people that don't have this trauma, the trauma of needing to take in other people's emotions, they'll be able to get angry, but then they can move on with their day. You may personally get so angry and you take it with you, and you have this energy with you, and you can't get rid of it because you can't resolve it since it's not your own problem. So there's that. Or there's a second thing that happens where maybe if someone's nervous about a health thing, you'll take on that emotion and start to worry about your own health. Like, should I be worried about this health thing? And so you'll take on their emotion and take on that nervous energy as well. Or if someone starts to get angry about something, you'll think, oh, should I also be angry about this in my own personal life? And you can't differentiate the two. You have a hard time being able to identify yourself and being able to put boundaries between you and the other person, because in your upbringing, there was no boundaries. You were one with your parent in your chaotic environment. Your parent made you feel like you didn't have your own sense of self. And so you often will mold yourself into other people and be one with them because you haven't been able to have your own identity or identify who you are. And another part of this as well that we have to add is that oftentimes, if you immediately feel like you have to take care of something or help people, it's because you're uncomfortable with your own negative emotions, which is because you weren't taught how to deal with your negative, uncomfortable emotions. And so you are uncomfortable with other people being uncomfortable because you had parents that didn't know how to self-soothe or didn't know how to take care of their own stuff, and they placed it on you. And so you immediately, when you see someone is upset or something negative is happening with them, it makes you incredibly uncomfortable because you don't know how to cope with all this negativity. So the only way you know how to survive through this is to immediately take care of it and to do something about it. And you want to stop other people from experiencing pain because you don't know how to deal with this pain. And it's a way for you to feel immediate relief. When you can relieve other people of their pain, you feel relieved from your pain. So now that we understand and we've gotten to the root, which you can identify, you know, what do you relate to the most? Maybe you relate to all of them, maybe you relate to a couple. What do you relate to? Now we can talk about how do you stop taking other people's emotions. So the first thing is becoming self-aware, becoming aware of what are your emotions and what are other people's emotions. And so what you can do is checking in with yourself when you're having an emotion, identifying, you know, where is this emotion coming from? Why am I feeling this emotion? Did something happen? Like I notice I'm very angry. Did something happen that caused me to be angry in my personal life? You'll go through it and be like, no, nothing really happened. I was okay. And then start to ask yourself, did someone tell me something that made me very angry? You may think back to when you were at lunch and a coworker was telling you how your boss was being really unfair to them. You're like, oh, ding, ding, ding. That's why I'm feeling so angry, because my coworker was telling me this thing. And then you can identify this is their emotion. Now something may have happened in your life, and that's when you can identify, oh, okay, this is my own emotion. This is something that has happened to me. I feel sad because I haven't seen my friends or what have you. Then when you're able to identify, you know, which is your emotion, you know, something that personally happened to you versus something that's happened to someone else that you took on, then it's so important that you put like a bubble or kind of like a shield. So you purposely want to identify and say, okay, this is their emotion and I'm gonna give it back to them. I'm gonna allow them to have it. And you can use visualizations. You can visualize this emotion as a color and imagine throwing it back to them. You can visualize putting an actual fence, whatever floats your boat. Do some type of visualization to put that barrier. You know, imagine having a bubble around you and protecting you from any of these uncomfortable emotions that are not your own, and put up a barrier to say, hey, this is not my emotion and I'm sending it back away from me. Now, dealing with your own emotions, that's a whole other topic, which I will leave some of my videos, my playlist right here, that you can deal with your own emotions. But when it comes to other people, definitely allowing them to have their emotion. It's completely normal as humans to be empathetic and to empathize with other people. But you have to recognize when you're taking the emotion on too much. Is it carrying with you all day long? Are you having a hard time sleeping because of it? If you notice you are, then you definitely need to practice putting that barrier up and putting that bubble around you. Another thing I will say is learn to accept your own emotions, your own negative, uncomfortable emotions. You most likely in your childhood felt shame or felt uncomfortable or felt like you weren't allowed to have your own emotions, or that it wasn't okay to have negative emotions. And so you need to own your emotions. Say, hey, this is normal to have emotions. Validate your own emotions, get comfortable with them, soothe yourself through them, you know, practice that self-parenting language. And once you get comfortable with your emotions, you'll be comfortable with other people's emotions. You will allow them to have their emotions, because you'll see, hey, it's not so scary to have emotions. And I'm not responsible for other people's emotions, which is really important. You remind yourself, I may have felt responsible in childhood, but I'm not responsible and I never should have been responsible. That was unfair. So getting comfortable with your emotions and allowing other people to have their emotions will help you, so that way you don't feel this immediate urgent need to fix it and make them feel better. And also understand you most likely feel it in a deeper level than they probably do, because you've been so used to taking on so much of other people's emotions, that you're very sensitive to them. So you have to be able to remind yourself, this is their journey. They need to experience this emotion. Every single person has their own journey. They learn their own lessons. If you don't allow people to learn their lessons and be on their journey, then you are taking away from them. And you don't want to be someone that's taking away from them. So you can always be a listening ear, but with boundaries, which we'll talk about in a second. You can always, be compassionate, understanding to a point. You can help when it doesn't hurt you in some sort of way, but it doesn't have to be the extreme where you're the main fixer and you let go of that responsibility. Think about your own life and your own journey. You've probably learned so much, and you've gotten where you are today because you've been on your journey. And so you want to also allow other people to be on their journey and to experience things and learn along the way rather than taking it on for them. Our job in life is to be in the background to support, not to be in the forefront to take care of everyone and everything, because we need to worry about ourselves and take care of ourselves. And the last point I would say is be aware of energy vampires. So if you are someone that's highly sensitive, highly empathetic, you just are someone that is very nurturing or loving or what have you, you are naturally going to attract people that don't have those qualities, which are usually energy vampires or narcissists or what have you, just lower energy people, because they lack that and they're like, I need that, like I don't have that quality, and so I crave it. And so they see this light you have and this positivity or this problem solving you have, and they'll latch on to it. And so you have to be careful of these types of people. If you notice you feel drained after being around someone, or you notice like when you hang out with them it's just always negativity and them complaining, then you have to consider, do I want to maintain this relationship, or do I need to put up some boundaries and see them less? Maybe I need to have a conversation with talking to them less about things or what have you. But you need to be aware of how these people are affecting you. And there can be some guilt or feeling bad, but remember, it's not your responsibility to take care of them, and they have to learn how to take care of themselves, and that they have to learn these tools that you've learned. So it's a two-way responsibility. Understand you can possibly be enabling them in some sort of way, and that's why they keep coming to you. You don't have healthy boundaries, and then they lack the ability to maybe self-soothe or think positively or accept things, or to be able to let things go. And so those two combinations, it becomes an enabling partnership. So what you want to do is you definitely want to put up those boundaries, so that way you don't get sucked into that and you don't get drained by that. So it's so important for you to be aware of how much you are giving, how much of a listening ear you're giving, how much advice you're giving, how much of your time you're giving. And so you want to make sure you put up a boundary and be like, okay, maybe I'll listen to them complain once a week. Maybe I will listen for a few minutes and then I will change the subject. Maybe I will call them out when they're doing it too much. Maybe I will just give one piece of advice and move on. Maybe I won't give any advice. You have to decide your boundaries of what you need. Maybe you need to not be around this person at all because they're too much, what have you. You need to personally identify what you need and what this person is doing, so that way you can better manage your energy, especially because you easily can get sucked into these things. And like I said, you will have to deal with some inner child work and giving yourself permission and soothing yourself and telling yourself that it's okay, it's not your job to take on these things. And you also will have to deal with maybe some guilt of feeling bad, like you're responsible or you're supposed to do these things and you're bad or you're wrong if you don't. But really, that's just that false guilt, and reminding yourself that is not true at all. That is a false story that has been ingrained in your brain from a young age. And so talking to that little child and say, hey, go play. We don't have to, focus on the negativity. It's not our job to take care of everyone. That will help relieve you of those duties. So what do you guys think? Leave it all in the comments below. And please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with someone that you think may need it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye, guys. Oops, I forgot to turn it off. I feel like I look like I'm a little church girl that's going to church in this shirt. Allergies are so bad. Who has allergies in March? I put 2 lashes on today. Oh God, I'm almost so out of breath. When someone, no, that's not English. That's not English. Oh shoot. I dropped my ring.